Well, thanks everybody for being here tonight on an intimate Friday evening. If Rabbi Sarah were here, she would have something witty to say about our seating arrangement. And how far back everybody is. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Front of the class.
Perfect. All right, A pluses all across here. Excellent. That's right. Awareness of global cultures right here. Okay. At this time, to enter into Friday night, formally, it is my pleasure to invite up Rose Petersky to light our Sabbath candles. If you are with us here, we are on page 2. If you are joining us online and following our slides tonight, it should also be in there, but I should give the caveat that my small child is running around the building tonight. So if I get the message that we need to speed things along, we might skip some slides as things go along, but everything should be in there. All right.
How do you light this one?
Oh,
It's in the lid.
It's in the lid. Oh, so it's this thing?
so cool.
This is kind of fun.
I like it.
Ooh, it's nice.
Right.
You're gonna set your mask on.
Oh my God. I forgot I was wearing it. Anyway. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'alitner shel Shabbat.
Thank you.
No problem.
I knew there would be some stragglers. So, if we haven't met yet, my name is Laura Smith. I am filling in tonight for the Rabbi Zober while they celebrate their wedding anniversary. So many congratulations to them. We are singing tonight, worshiping tonight, a little preoccupied, out of Mishkan Tefillah. And if you are following along online, the wonderful Mike Stamba has put together slides out of the same. We start tonight by turning to page 8 and reading together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics, and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I read upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world that God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. Thank you. We turn all the way to page 332 for Yidid Nefesh. Yedid nefesh avarachaman משוך כבדך אל רצונך, ירוץ עבדך כמו אייל, ישתחווה אל מוהדריך, יהי רב לו ידידותך, ידדדדדדדדד, מנופץ ובכל טעם. Yay da da da, yay da da da, yay da 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 da, Adonai ziv olam, nafshi cholat avetecha anael. Rivana la, beharod la, Noam zivcha, az titchazek v'titrape, yadadadadadadadad, v'haita la simchat olam, yadadada, yadadada, yadadadadadadad, v'tik yehemu. Naharahameha vechusana beinahu vecha, ki ze kama nisavti lirod betiferet uzecha ana elichem dat libi yadadadadadadad. Husana ve anatitalam, yay da da da, yay da da da, yay da 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 da, higalena ufros havivi alai etzuchat shelomecha. Ta'ir eretz mikvodecha, nagila v'nismecha ba'ach, maher ahuv ki v'amoed, yadadadadadadad, v'chonenu ki me'olam, yadadadad, yadadadad, yadadadadadad. We turn back to page 12. For Lechu Niranina. Lechu Niranina Adonai. Nari aletzur yishenu. Lechu Niranina Adonai. Nari aletzur yishenu. Yay day 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 day, yay day 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 day, yay day day day, yay day day, yay day 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 day. The Hunaranana begins our cycle of Psalms to welcome in Shabbat. We are continuing on to page 13, and unless otherwise announced, we will just continue on through Psalms. This next one is available as a very short round, so if you know it as we go along and you feel like joining us in the second part, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, one group is just fine. Shiru Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Shiru Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo. Azru me'om le'om Yeshuato. Shiru Adonai Baruch Hu Shemo. Azru me'om le'om Yeshuato. Or Zarua Batzadik Hu Yisrael Simcha. Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Uyisrael Simcha Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Uyisrael Simcha. One more for fun. Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Uyisrael Simcha Or Zarua Latzadik Uyisrael Simcha Uyisrael Simcha. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot teva v'tzedek v'amim b'sharim. Mizmor leDavid havu Adonai b'nei Elim havu Adonai kavod va'oz havu Adonai Kevon shemo hishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim kol Adonai Baruch Adonai behadar kol Adonai shor arazim vayshaber Adonai eretz havanon vayar kireim kemo egel Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ben re'im kol Adonai chotze lavotesh kol Adonai Yachil midbar Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh kol Adonai yochal elai alod v'chesof yeharotu b'chei halo kulo omer kavod Adonai lama yashnati Oiden Adonai Barech Eramo Bashalom. We arrive at Lecha Dodi. As is Temple Sinai custom, we will sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. If you are able on verse 9, please rise and face our exit doors to welcome in our Shabbat bride, Boi Kala, Boi Kala. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Yadadai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Kabbalat. Lecha Dodi likrat Kala, Yadadai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, Pnei Kabbalat. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad U'shmo echad L'shemu tiferet v'li tehila lechadoti likrat kala yadadai pnei Shabbat nekabelai lechadoti likrat kala yadadai pnei Shabbat nekabelai likrat Shabbat beichul v'nelcha kimek. Can you guys keep going? Lechadoti likrat kala yadadai pnei Shabbat nekabelai lechadoti likrat kala yadadai pnei Shabbat nekabelai hitoreri kiva orekumi Uri, shir dabiri, kevod Adonai, alayich nigla. Lechadoti likrat kala yadadai, pnei Shabbat. Kabelai, lechadoti likrat kala yadadai, pnei Shabbat nekabelai, boi veshalom hateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola. Tochenunei am segula, boi kala, lechadoti likrat kala yadadai, pnei Shabbat nekabelai, lechadoti likrat kala yadadai, pnei Shabbat nekabelai. Thank you. You may be seated. Sorry, Crystal is helping with Ronan. Thought something was wrong. It is not. She just wants to feed you. At this time, we turn to page 26 for Hatzikadosh. Yitkada Shemei Rabbah. Yamadi Brachirote Me'amlik Malchute Bechai Echon of Yom Echon Upchei Dechol Yat Yisrael Bagala Ubizman Kari V'yimaru Yehesh Merabah Mevarav Le'alam ulam me'amaya Yitbarach v'yishavach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitarar v'yitale v'yitalo Shemei Kedusha Brihu Leila min kol birata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Damiran B'yaman V'yimaru Amen. If you are able, please rise for the Barhu on page 28. Yai, dai, dai, yai, dai, dai, dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Barehu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, Hamevorach, Thank you. You may be seated. Nope, that's not true. You may not be seated. We turn at this time to page 31, our blessing for evening at the top. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way upon which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day and night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hamar ariv arabim. And on 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. There, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema can be found on the following page. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. At this time, you may be seated. I promise this time. We continue on page 36 with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'shol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam v'shivtecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha Uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu litotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Ayet Eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. We read together at the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. As they march together to that blessed place, we turn to page 40 from Mi Chamocha, our song of celebration. Yappa ba bim bim bam, yappa ba ba bim bam, yappa ba bim bim bam, yappa ba ba bim bam, yai dai da dai dai dai, ya da da ba bim bam, yai dai da dai dai dai, yappa ba ba bim bam. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi mi kamocha nidar bakodesh Nora tehilot osefele Nora tehilot osefele Ma'alechutecha ra'uvanecha Okay, ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai lo le'olam ba'ed yapa ba'bim bim bam yapa ba'bim bam yapa ba'bim bim bam yapa ba'bim bam yai dai 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 oh ba'bim bam yai dai 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 yapa ba'bim bam ונאמר כפרה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We have crossed over the sea, whether just from a long week or perhaps something much more trying. The flight is over and we can slow ourselves down and prepare for rest. We read together at the bottom of page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Baruch atah Adonai, haparei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Vishamru can be found on page 44. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. Beini uvein b'nei Israel, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. V'shamru b'nei Israel et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. Yeshet shamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito olam. U'bayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito. Last time, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'doratam berito. It's just so infectious. I can't not. As we enter into the Amidah on page 46, please stand in body or spirit as you are able. As always, when we are done reading communally, you may continue until page 62 or sit whenever your meditation is complete. Adonai sefer tiftach ufi yitzavilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El HaGadol, HaGibor VeHaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imavot, Umevi Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Lemon Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav le'Moshiach, Mashif HaRuach u'Moreh HaShem, Mechakel Chayim ve'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol ve'Rachamim Rabim, Tzomech Nochlim ve'Rofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayev Emunato, Lishenei Ahar, Michamocha Ba'al Kefarot, Umidomela, Melech Mimit Umechayev, Umasmiach Yeshua, Ne'eman atah Havayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehallelu v'sela. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Ose shalom bimromahu yase shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael eimeru amen. At this point, Temple Sinai tradition holds that we would have a full Torah service, but tonight we are just going to talk Torah rather than bringing our scroll out. We know, however, that across our time zone, scrolls are open up and down the hemispheres, and with those out, it is time to ask for healing for those in need. We are thinking tonight, especially of Wendy Alderman, Kathy Bartlett, Tracy Bartlett, Sue Burkham, Neil Calder, Laura Cohen, Ellen Gordon, Stephen Gould, Marlene Harris, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Kevin Knox, Harav Miriam Bat Shifra Bechinhas, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah, Tim Ober, Ruth Petersky, Judy Ramos, Peter Ramos, Ray Riker, Shirley Retkovitz, Sarah Bat Chava, Marion Schinker, Jessica Waditz, Leonard Weinberg, Bobby Wells, Usher Zalech, everyone affected by the coronavirus, and the Jewish and other communities of Ukraine. If there are other names in your lives, in your circles, in your hearts, please write them in the comment. I'm at this. Yes.
Rosie Whitaker, Felix.
Our song for healing can be found on page 253. Mishe beirach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe beirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Our blessing for the study of Torah can be found on page 86. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. I always know that one right up until that moment, like right here. So our parsha this week is Sarah. This is the portion where Abraham buys the burial plot for Sarah, buries her, at which point he turns to his head servant, the runner of his household, and says, it's time to find a wife for Yitzhak. And so he sends his manservant off back to Abraham, not Abraham's homeland, but where he had spent a lot of time with his family and where his family still is. And he says, go find a wife for Yitzhak and bring her back. And anybody know who that wife is? There we go. Excellent. Gold stars in the front. And he finds Rivka. We will talk more about Rivka. And he brings her back to the place where Abraham and Isaac are living. And Isaac lifts his eyes across the field at dusk, and he sees the camels coming. And Rivka looks across and she says, oh, that must be him. And she covers herself. She veils herself. She is our veiled matriarch. And they live happily ever after, and nothing terrible ever happens ever again. They're on to me. So I had pulled a bunch of texts about 2 weeks ago when I was getting ready for this, and I was all set to talk about only Eliezer. So Eliezer is the servant that Abraham sends off on this very important mission to find a wife for his, at this point, only son. And we were to talk about how Eliezer is the true hero of this story, that he not only takes on this task that Abraham sets for him, but he raises the difficulty level of it by a great deal and of his own volition. So not only is he going to go find literally anyone who will say yes, which is basically the mission that's set out for him. He says, no, I'm going to find the best and most perfect, righteous person with the right spirit and the right character. And in order to do this, he sets a deal with God. He says, if it is her, show me that it is her by making her do all of these things. And it actually works. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could just ask for a sign all the time? And he does this very difficult task, not for anybody, but for Yitzhak. So we mentioned that Eliezer is the head servant in Abraham's household. And we know in the text that he has been in this position for 40 plus years, since before the birth of Yitzhak, since before even the birth of Ishmael. So in Near Eastern tradition, and in the text itself, we learn that this means that Eliezer is set to inherit everything in Abraham's household, right? Land, wealth, no progeny, but land and wealth. And so when Yitzhak comes along, he is unseated in this position. He goes back to just being a servant. So the fact that he has not only accepted this mission, but made it more difficult and wants to do it to the very best of his ability speaks very highly of Eliezer's character. And I was all said to only talk about this and how beautiful it is that Eliezer, descendant of Nimrod, that Midrash says, put Abraham before fire as a test. That Nimrod's descendant and Terah's descendant Abraham, both of them sons of these lineages that are meant to sort of exemplify the old way, these recalcitrant, defiant tribes that refuse to accept monotheism, God, whatever, they're not on with it, that their sons have come together in this mission to find a wife for Yitzhak in this moment that is the most tenuous for the covenant. At this time, there is only one person carrying on the covenant that God has made with Abraham. Abraham is old. His wife is dead. He will have no more children. He has one son who is irrevocably damaged from last week's event. What happened last week? Finding of Isaac. Not great for anyone, right? So we've got this one broken son left, and this is the seat of the covenant at this point, and there's this terrible transition where you really hope that it can pass from this first chosen son, Yitzhak, to the second chosen son. And in fact, it does, and it's amazing, and that these lineages have come together to make this transition happen. It's wonderful, and it's amazing. And how do we know that we should honor Eliezer from this? Because first, we look at it and we say it's great. But secondly, not next section, not the section after that, but 500 years down the line, the only other Eliezer in Tanakh is the son of Moshe Rabbeinu. That he has a son and he names him Eliezer, perhaps in memory of this event. So I was all set to talk about Eliezer and his faith and how he chose Abraham's household to join. He followed him on his journey. He stayed with him the rest of his life. He did this mission for him as he approached his own death, and that we honor him. And that felt well and good up until I woke up this morning. And it just felt too simple, because who else do we meet? We also meet Rivka, and Rivka is complicated. Interesting, but complicated. So in this parsha, we meet young Rivka at the well, and she is generous and trusting and faithful. And this guy shows up at the well and says, I am the servant of your uncle, come back with me. And she says, okay. And maybe this was preceded by an angel. There's some stories that say yes, there's some stories that say no, but in any case, she agrees and she sets off into the geographic and familial unknown, and it works out. But later Rivka gets complicated. Anybody know why Rivka gets complicated later? What happens with the boys?
She favors Jacob over Esau and helps Jacob to take Esau's birthright.
Yes. So there's this manipulation down the line where Esau should have had the birthright. All of the inheritance should have passed to him. He should have been the chosen son to carry on the covenant. But Rivka intervenes, and instead she sets Jacob on this path. Sorry for my macaronic names tonight. So we know that we are meant to honor Rivka. Why do we know this? We know this because she's in the liturgy. We've elevated her as a matriarch. There's also this beautiful midrash about how when Sarah was alive, you knew that holiness resided around her because of three things. That around her tent, there was always a cloud, not a rain cloud, but those are reverse the rain clouds, but a holy cloud, that her candles would stay lit from one Shabbos to the other, and that her challah would just multiply to magically feed whoever was around. So she had it first. And that these things that showed Sarah's holiness are also present when Rivka comes and sets up tent in the camp. And that these three things, the cloud, the candles, the ever-growing challah, are meant to match up with the features later that we see in the Mishkan. So the cloud that is always there to be the divine presence, the light that never goes out, the ner tamid, and the 2 loaves of bread that are somehow magically always on the altar. So we know that we're meant to honor it. She does this arguably terrible thing down the line of choosing one of her sons over the other, of manipulating not only Esau but Yitzhak in order to set Yaakov on the path that he continues. So how are we to square this clearly manipulative behavior with her inherent holiness? And the sages say the reason we allow this manipulation in Rivka and we are still able to uphold it is because Rivka displays discernment, that she is the veiled matriarch and she has prophetic discernment between her 2 sons, that she sees the inherent goodness in Yaakov and she sees the inherent badness in Esau. So what evidence do we have that this might be true? The evidence we have is that Esau wants to kill Yaakov. But in his defense, he wants to kill him after he is swindled. After this, Esau has to leave the lineage, leave his family. He is essentially cut off, and we never hear from him again. So who in this situation would not have rage, would not momentarily at least want to kill someone? After all, didn't even Moshe kill someone? So it's possible that Yaakov is not inherently unassailable, that his ruthlessness is not any more or less bad than that of Esau. So it would seem that faith and discernment alone are not sufficient to square this act of Rivka, this act of her manipulating her family, of upending the established order of things with the honor that we give her later. So I want us to entertain that what we see in these stories as they thread together through this week and next week's is that what we see in retrospect as discernment between 2 truths may actually be a narrative we tell about how our own choices create change, even up to the level of history. I might suggest that when Rivka devotes her attention and her love and her energetic investment into Yaakov, she is elevating him to become the God wrestler he grows into. That he becomes the link for growing covenant into peoplehood and into longevity. So all of this, of course, was written long before we knew anything about atoms. But if you are a science nerd, you will know that there is a principle that you cannot both observe the placement of an atom or an electron within it without changing their locations. And I'm suggesting that this is what happens here, that in fact, divinity flows in the direction of attention and that discernment and faith might be two sides of seeing through the same lens. Wishing all of us a Shabbat of vision. Good luck to us. Shabbat Shalom. It is time for us to turn to the bottom of page 202 for Elenu. It is my great pleasure to call up Daryl and Vito Dworkin to open our ARC doors. I'm so glad you're here. And we met. Alinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol v'atei tefillah le'yotzer b'reshit shelo asanu k'goyei ha'aratzot ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah shelo sam chelkenu kahem ve'goralenu kechol hamonah Ananu korim u'mishachavim u'modim Lifnei melech malkei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you, Daryl. To 87. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai le'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shamo echad. Thank you. You may be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss of life and death. We are thinking tonight especially of Barbara Gonzalez, Sasuko Oljanachov, Hank Froelich, Edna Bailey, Deborah Doniev Castle, Will Spiegelman, Leonard Fusari, James Hawley, Ken Hecht, Roberta Smallrich, Edward Gingold, Cookie Jabinski, Carl Weinberg, Al Grossman, Jeff Blank, Richie Zorn, Catherine Linsky Foley, Deborah Beckman, Diane Goodman, Evelyn Holzer, Adeline Rubin, Alan Bloom, Tammy Nidzwecki, Paula Polovy, Amy Garfinkel, Nancy Livingston, Miriam Cooper-Reed, Ralph Wolfstein, Leona Green, Ruben Cladney, Sylvia Langer, Fanny Abramson, A. Raymond Abt, Frida Alderman, and Betty Williams. If there are other names in your hearts and your circles, please in the comments for remembrance or raise those names up here now. Kaddish can be found on page 294. If it is your custom, please rise. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, Bialma, Divrach, Hiroteh, Biamlich, Malchuchteh, Behayechon, Uyomechon, Uvchaye, Dechol, Beit, Israel, Ba'agala, Ibizman, Kariv, V'yamru, Amen. Yehi, Shmei Rabbah, Mevarach, Le'olam, Ulalmei, Almayat. V'yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalel, Shmei T'kudasha B'rihu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata t'amiran v'yama v'yamru amin. Yihei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Osei shalom b'imramav hu ya'aseh shalom alinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. I was going to call up Tova, but I think she might be wrangling a small person, so I will do announcements. All right. Oh, she's here. Fabulous.
My superpower is not missing my cues.
So useful.
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thank you for being here, our small but mighty core. I love you. Okay. Coming up on, so we are, if you notice the box in the foyer and mentioned in our newsletter, our social action committee between now and mid next week, so December, December 22nd, are collecting coats, sweaters, caps, gloves, so all of the warm things. This is for our place. So if you have questions about donations, please feel free to contact Mary Cates, but this is a wonderful time to do a little closet cleaning out and help some of our community members in need. The Thanksgiving holiday is coming up. I hope you all have wonderful dinners planned with family and loved ones. The temple offices will be closed on Thursday and Friday. There is a Shabbat service that Friday night, however. On December 4th, the North Tahoe Hebrew congregation will be celebrating their 20th anniversary. And my family used to spend high holidays up at that congregation, so I have quite a fondness for it. And we are, of course, all invited in celebrating this community milestone, and I hope to see many of you there. Then as we solidly rest into December, some of our Hanukkah celebrations are going to kick off. December 8th is Torah for Tots. This will be in person here. Hanukkah will be December 18th through the 25th. So all of our friends are going to make that Christmaka joke that they make every year. Okay. And December 22nd, Chef Jane Townsley is going to host a Not Your Bubby's Hanukkah cooking class. Her cooking classes are phenomenal. I cannot promote them enough. I would probably advise you to come hungry. I have never been to anything where it was like just the class and she didn't also feed me. That is the 22nd of December. I'm not sure what day of the week that is.
Thursday.
Thank you.
She's charging $10 cover charge, but it will be well worth it. She plans it being a dinner's worth.
Yes. And let's see, and then our congregational Hanukkah Shabbat will be that immediate Friday after, so Friday the 23rd. So it's going to start at 5:30 p.m. with a Tot Hanukkah service, Hanukkah potluck at 6 p.m., and then of course our Hanukkah Shabbat service with a community menorah lighting. So please bring your menorah and candles to participate in that. Thank you all so much. Shabbat shalom, and keep each other company through winter.
Wonderful. All right. We will close tonight with Ein Adir on page 328. Almost done, bud. Almost done. Mipiel, Yevora Kol Yisrael. Mipiel, Yevora Kol Yisrael. Ein Adir Adonai v'en Baruch v'en Amram. Ein Gedola k'Torah v'en Dashanek k'ka Yisrael. Mipiel, Yevora Kol Yisrael. Mipiel, Yevora Kol Yisrael. Ein Hadur Adonai, Vien Vati, Keven Amram, Ein Zaka, Katorah, Vien Kakame, Haka Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael, Ein Tahor Adonai, Vien Yachi, Keven Amram, Ein Kavira Katorah, Vien Lamdane, Haka Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael, Ein Podeh Adonai, Vien Tzadi Keven Amram, Ein Kedusha Katorah, Vien Tomchecha Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael, Mipi, Yevorako Yisrael. Join us on page 5 for long Yiddish.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'yiratzah b'anu. Shabbat Kodesh v'Yahavahu Ratzon Yikimanu. Zikaron L'Maaseh Bereshit. Kilu Yom Tehilah L'Mikra'e Kodesh. Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim. Imanu B'charta V'tanu Kinasha Mikol Ha'amim. Shabbat Kodecha V'Yahavahu Ratzon Yikimanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamotzi lechem mi'haaretz. Shabbat Shalom.
In your honor, please, on your way out, give a strong thank you to Michael Gorden for running tech tonight, to Ruth and to Tova for doing reading tonight, without whom we could not have a service. Much appreciated. And of course, grab something at the Grab and Gorden.
And thank you.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.